How's it going, everybody? ZBilbs back here with another video. I know it's been a little while since my last one. I'm getting into the swing of things with college, so uploads are going to be a little bit more sporadic. I'm just super busy with college work, but every once in a while I'll try to get one to you, and today I'm getting back in with another metal ranking video, and I am ranking all not Iron Maiden, Avenged Sevenfold albums. I've listened through them recently for the first time. Before listening through their whole discography, I'd already heard a few in the past. I've always been a decent Avenged Sevenfold fan for a while now, but I've never really gone through their entire catalog, so this was a fun chance to go through and see how they've grown and evolved through all the years. Now, before I get into it, just know that this isn't the right list, just my opinion. You're all not going to agree with a lot of what I have to say here, but it is what it is. Without further ado, let's get rolling. So to start off at my least favorite album, and at 7th spot, I've got Sounding the Seventh Trumpet. Now, this is a common pick for a lot of people's least favorite Avenged Sevenfold album, and it's easy to see why, because it's their first album. The production quality, the mixing isn't nearly as good. It feels like M Shadows and their guitarists just aren't quite on par with later stuff that they would do. It's not atrocious, but for me, what really puts this one down and why I really can't enjoy this album at all, and it's the exact same for the next one you'll see on here, is completely personal preference, and that's just a fact that I do not in the slightest like screamo stuff. I don't like the whole screaming style that they would do of, the hardcore metalcore style. It's just not for me. I can totally understand why people like this style, but pretty much every song is a screamo song except for Streets and Warmness on the Soul, I think. Warmness on the Heart, something like that. Those two are pretty decent. But other than that, I just cannot listen to any of the rest of them. So that's why Sounding the Seventh Trumpet, least favorite. Next up, I have a lot of people's favorite, actually, and that is Waking the Fallen. Now, I know I'm going to make a lot of people upset with this spot, just like when I put Kill 'Em All at number 9, but just hang in there with me. Like I've already said, this is completely a personal preference, because I think the musicianship, the guitar work is so heavy and intense and great on so much of this, but I just cannot enjoy this album in the slightest because of the incredibly screamy style of the singing. I just cannot enjoy that. I know Reminiscence, something like that. Unholy Confessions, Chapter 4 are like a lot of people's top 10 favorites and stuff, and there's a lot of cool stuff in there. I just can't get into them. Out of those, I would say Chapter 4 is the closest to me being able to enjoy it, because there is some interesting lyrics in there. But the only song that I can really listen to all the way through on this album is I Won't See You Tonight Part 1, because there's not really any screamy stuff in there. But everything else I just can't do. But that's at number 6 spot. Everything else, I think, is really good and was really close for a few of these. I like most songs on the rest of these albums. It was really close for a lot of these. But at number 5, I have City of Evil. Another one that's a lot of people's favorite. I think that's kind of consistent for a lot of these albums. A lot of them are people's favorite. And I can see why, for a lot of different reasons. City of Evil, what's good about it's got some absolutely classic tracks. Bat Country is really the one that got Avenged Sevenfold out there, let everybody know who they were, and I mean, what a freaking killer track it is. My favorite of the album is actually Seize the Day. Another great one, a lot of people's favorite, Beast and the Harlot, is excellent. I also like, Trashed and Scattered, MIA. Other ones are really good. What makes this album not quite as high as other ones is, one, I think the singer's voice is still a little bit maturing. It sounds a little bit nasally, kind of like it's okay for some stuff. Like I can look past it, but it makes it a little bit difficult for me to put it much higher. And then just generally, I think just songs are more memorable and more fun on later albums, but City of Evil is still a really solid album, coming in at 5th place. Next up, at 4th place, I have the self-named album Avenged Sevenfold. I don't know why they don't call it the White Album, kind of like Metallica's Black Album, but that that is what we've got at number 4. Another one a lot of people really love, and I can definitely see why. This one has got some absolute classic tracks. It's got Afterlife, which is a classic. It's got A Little Piece of Heaven, a favorite for a lot of people. It's got Scream, which is absolutely excellent. But probably my second favorite on the album, right under A Little Piece of Heaven, is actually Unbound, or The Wild Ride. I feel like that one is a super underrated track. That's just really excellent. There's some other solid tracks in there here and there, but generally it's those 4 that I've already mentioned that are like my really top tier Avenged Sevenfold album songs. And that's the main reason why it's not higher, because I do think it is a solid album, but there's really only 4 tracks that I really like. So that's why Avenged Sevenfold comes in at the 4th spot. At number 3, another going to be a controversial pick once again, but I'm kind of known for that. Sort of, not really, I don't know. We've got Hail to the King. This is a lot of people's least favorite, and I kind of see it, not really though. This is kind of, this album went the Black Album route, where they made it a little less metalcore, a little more hard rock, more classic metal, and that really turned a lot of fans away from it. I think there might have been some like weird mixing stuff in there, but for me, I've never been a long-term Avenged Sevenfold fan. I only went through the whole discography lately, and I just really like the sound of this album. What can I say? Maybe it's because I don't like the screamy stuff. I like a little bit of more of that mellow, just classic metal hard rock stuff. But this has got just some absolutely killer tracks on it. Like Hail to the King, I think even if you don't like this album, you love the title track, Hail to the King. Such a freaking great song. One of my probably top 5 Avenged Sevenfold songs. You've got Shepherd of Fire, so great. Some other more under-celebrated songs in there, Coming Home, Heretic, absolutely love that. Acid Rain, excellent. It does definitely, the quality here and there's definitely a few songs that are just kind of like kind of forgettable, like Planets. I remember many of the other ones. There's nothing atrocious here. There's very few songs generally in Avenged Sevenfold's catalog that I can point out as being terrible songs. There's definitely just songs that are more memorable than others. The only songs that I actually can't listen to are the screamy ones from the first 2 albums. Once again, totally a personal preference, but back to Hail to the King. Great album, just not quite as fun as other albums. But next, at 2nd place, I have got the most recent album, and that is The Stage. This is might be at least tied for the most consistent album. Well, I think other albums like, Avenged Sevenfold and Hail to the King have higher highs in this album. This album, I think, it outdoes Hail to the King and Avenged Sevenfold by just being super consistent. It's the same reason why I thought Senjutsu was such a great album. It's just, I really love an album with consistent theme, tone, and quality throughout all of its songs. And this album absolutely does that. It's got 11 tracks, and I really love 9 out of the 11 tracks, or at least I think they're solid, like really worth listening to multiple times. Also, the deluxe edition has got some other pretty great songs. Standouts from this album, I would say, would be the title track, The Stage, Goddamn, Sunny Disposition, Angels, Roman Sky. Exist is also 15 minutes, hard to re-listen to, but it's absolutely an experience. You got Neil deGrasse Tyson speaking at the end there. Just really fun. I love the whole kind of space existential theme that's going throughout all of these songs. It feels really proggy, not quite as heavy as some of the other albums, but I really love the style that they're going for. I really think it works and is a nice change of pace, but still feels really fun, still feels really Avenged Sevenfold-like. But next up, at my number one spot, and actually number one by a significant amount, none of the other albums came close to this one, and that is Nightmare. This is the one album that I've listened to since I was a kid. My dad has always, this has been the one Avenged Sevenfold album that he's absolutely loved. And so there is a fair dose of nostalgia going into it, but just listening through it, it's just so freaking good. This is one of my all-time favorite metal albums. Not that I've listened to that many, but out of the bands I have listened to, this is one of my favorite. Just like the stage, it's not only does it have such great high of highs, but the consistency along these songs is so good, so freaking good. And there's only 2 songs out of the 11 that I don't really like to re-listen to. One is God Hates Us, and I know a lot of people love that song. I can see why. It's probably their heaviest in the album. I don't love it because it's just a little bit too like screamy, intense. It kind of just reminds me of Waking the Fallen and whatnot. So I know people who love Waking the Fallen are definitely gonna love that song, but it's just not for me. The other one, I don't even quite remember what the other one's called, but my favorites from this album, you've got the obvious one, Nightmare, which is so freaking great. Buried Alive, you've got So Far Away, such like a deep emotional piece. Fiction is so good. Save Me is solid. Victim is solid. I'm definitely missing a few others in there, but as I've said, 9 out of the 11 are absolutely excellent. Probably on my top 20, you've got at least like 7, maybe 8 that are from Nightmare. So that just shows you just how significant Nightmare is as far as quality overall. Oh, Welcome to the Family. How did I forget Welcome to the Family? That's another absolutely fantastic one. So all in all, Nightmare is my favorite. It's not even that close. But let me know, what is your favorite Avenged Sevenfold album and why? Comment below what it is. I will try to get some more content out here and there. It's going to be a little bit more sporadic, but I hope you enjoyed this video for what it was. We'll see if there's another one soon. Who knows? But yeah, that's all I got for you today. I'll see you later.